Okay, we're back. Tom Williams, what's up, man? Tom, I got no mic. You there? No mic. Hang tight. Oh, something just happened. Slight technical difficulty. I'm gonna let Tom work this out. Hey, there he is.
Welcome. Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It happens.
I'm kind of brain dead with this whole gear stuff. So
yes, I've been navigating the wave of band dudes learning how to live stream for the past week.
We need to be holding Kyle Brownlee from Counterpart's hand, like right here, to help me through all this. So
yeah, that's here, cool.
You're my other producer in other life. So
hey, I appreciate you coming on. If you don't know who Tom Williams is, guitar player, straight from the path. Very socially and politically active band that I've had the pleasure of working with for, I don't know, 5 records now.
5 records, almost a decade.
Yeah, pretty awesome. So we've, I mean, man, we could talk about everything all day. We've got to pin this down to 15 minutes. So I will, I'll just say, you've definitely been a very outspoken person about, what you believe in, and the band has, done a tremendous amount of work over the years to support nonprofits, to support movements like the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that. So you were a shoe-in to come on here and talk because, from our world, you're definitely one of the more active people and have a lot of really good insight about things. So I would like to talk a little bit about, what's happening right now, because it's a recurring theme. It's something that you've been talking about for years. I mean, we've written Badge and a Bullet Part 1 and Part 2, and here we are again. And it's like, what's going on with you right now with your dudes, and where are all your heads right now?
For sure. I think you could add Good Night All Right to that list too.
Yeah. We'll get into that one. I've got
yeah. I mean, we're all home. We're scattered all over the globe. I mean, Craig, our drummer's from England, and we're the rest of us are from here. And we're kind of just dealing with the COVID stuff as we can, and with our platform, trying to help as much as we can. Like whether it's being present at like protests, or trying to raise money, again through our platform, which we've done some cool stuff. Like we just did a T-shirt, which again is not hard, So I never wanted that stuff to look like we're patting ourselves on the back, like look how cool we are. It's just like, hey, us, you've been listening to us, what we're about. Buy this T-shirt. This is where the money's going, and we raised like $16,000, a little bit more than that, from selling T-shirts. The band put in $500, which is a lot to us right now since we don't have work until April of next year. And then and then our label Unified, they rounded it up to $20,000. So we get to give $20,000 to Reclaim the Block, which invest their money directly into the community and make sure that no money is being invested further into the police of Minneapolis. So and then we're doing some other stuff right now with a bunch of bands. Like we have a shirt going on right now with like Stick to Your Guns, Terror, Year of the Knife, Knock Loose, a bunch of more. And, that we're all pitching in to raise money for. I think it's going to be spread out evenly between 70 different organizations that support the Black Lives Matter
Blue thing. Yeah, that's really cool. I saw that. Hard to miss that shirt because everybody blasted out the other day, but that was awesome. I love seeing it come together. It's the merch version of this. So I was like, oh, look at that. Everyone coming together. Yeah.
That stuff is sometimes to be like, oh, another shirt, which I get it. But again, it's not hard to do it. And the money we're raising is real. I mean, we're talking hardcore and metalcore people raising hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, it might even break $1 million. I mean, so our community, which I'm very proud of, like we have the newer bands like Year of the Knife and Knock Loose, like putting together that shirt and asking bands like Stig, Stray, Terror, all that stuff. That's important, and then like we see like even people in the streets, like you saying to Brendan before, having incendiary lyrics on signs. I've seen them for Stray. I have my background on my computer is a picture from Gabe the Pigeon that he took in LA with people holding like a Stick to Your Guns flag. So it's like, it made these like almost a decade of talking about this stuff be like, which we've sometimes when we put it out back in the day, we would get shit for it. And it shows that like, man, it really feels good that like people listen to us and they took this from it. And it's like, and they're taking it out to where, the people are doing the real work instead of just making t-shirts or whatever,
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate it. I mean, you kind of changed my mind about the whole t-shirt drive thing that was happening too. Cause I remember I called you and I was like, I don't know. I just feel like, are people just doing shirts just to do them right now? Is that just like a thing is that the easiest path to show support, but it is generating like real money. And at this point, if I see one, like, I don't even care if it's a PR stunt anymore. If kids are buying it, I'm stoked because the money is going to the right place. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
And I mean, at the end of this, I'm going to end up with a wardrobe of fuck police shirts, but that is awesome. So it's like, again, so some others that I picked up, shout to like the smaller ones. I mean, shout out to Karma from Chicago, Dying Wish, Extinction AD. Like, there's a bunch that people were doing it, and I'm not even covering all of them. Jesus Peace, they raised like a ton too, and they're also on the shirt that we're on. So it's like, it's special. And again, like, the shirts are just fucking t-shirts. They're easy. Like, it was one text to someone, hey, put this together. Hey, can throw this up, and then using our platform. It's fucking done in 2 minutes. But it's making real.
Quick shout out to the merch companies that are like killing themselves to produce all these, because it's very easy for us to go, we're going to do a BLM benefit shirt. Is that cool? You? All right, cool. Yeah, here it is. And then they get 1,000 orders and they have to place them. And it's these guys aren't taking a dime and they're getting their ass kicked. And they're generating all these shirts, printing them, fulfilling them, shipping them, all for charitable cause. So we, people like you or me or bands in our world, like, we have platforms and we can get it done and get the product to people, create a value for a fan. But those people are grinding away.
It's crazy, man. Like, I mean, for even just like a couple bands that I work with that have done stuff like Sanction and Dying Wish and all that stuff, it's like we're talking thousands and thousands of shirts that are being made for nothing, literally nothing. So it's like, they're doing like, and I'm making sure that like when they're ready and like they're starting ship orders and whatnot, I'm going to make sure that they get like, so people can go and buy some other merch from these websites, not even from Stray, but from any ones that like Downright or All In Merch or any of these places do it, and make sure like, go pick up something because look at this shit. Like, I've packed orders before. It sucks. Imagine having to pack like 5,000 t-shirts for zero. It's like, so they're doing the work too. The graphic designers are doing their work too. And it's special to see every area of hardcore and metalcore come together to actually make real money that's going to help real lives,
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And I bought a lot of merch this week and a lot of stuff from merch stores right now. And I'm going to go on a little shopping spree when all this is over too.
I put $100 into this charity event and my fingers are crossed for that low teens ETID test press. So let's go. One time, let's get lucky,
There you go. Hey, I mean, it's random. I already had to turn down a few, look, man, I love you, but I can't rig.
Yeah. No, I'm letting the ball spin and I'm just hoping it hits.
Well, you are a gambling man, so yeah, I appreciate it. So listen, we have to talk about this because this is just this like elf in the room shit that it's been with us for a long time, and the whole controversy that surrounded Goodnight All Right, and when that song came out and stuff, and then how the world had shifted after that. I mean, I remember when that song came out, when we were in the studio and it got written, and the message couldn't have been fucking clear, like what that was about, and then it got released into this pretty toxic internet climate that immediately took the song and the message and twisted it into pretty weird directions, where it became this all or nothing Antifa discussion and this, these extreme groups, and everybody kind of missed the point on the song. And then, and then the whole issue with the Nazis exploded like a month or two later. And then everybody was like on board with it. And I was like, what? So, I mean, you had such a crazy ride with that song. I mean, it touched Richard Spencer, so it's like, I'd love to talk about that, because in my eyes, I don't think Stray ever got a real good platform to explain what that song was about, or what in its pure sense, like what the intention was. And I know you so well, and I know what the purpose of that song was. And I think right now it'd be a very interesting song for people to go back and listen to and have a problem with it at this point, you know?
I mean, sure. And I'll tell you this, like I had like an update the other day and it was like the Goodnight Alt-Right and Badge and the Bullet 1 and 2, like the streaming is up like 5,000%, seriously. So it's like, I was like, holy crap, you know, it's like, but that's okay. Like, I mean, I wasn't expecting it to explode like it did, but you know, when I try to say, like, when I make a song, it's gonna live for the rest of time. So, and sometimes things become more relevant later. You know what I mean? Like, it got, you know, we mentioned Richard Spencer in the song. You know, I mean, we're a mid-level hardcore, metalcore, alternative rock band, whatever you want to call it. We're not a big band in the grand scheme of the world, where it would go to someone as big as Richard Spencer and Alex Jones and CNN and all these people that it exploded. Like, it exploded within hours. And we weren't, you know, and we just didn't know that was going to happen. And at first we thought it was funny, you know, and then we get like, you know, people mention like, oh, I've been getting death threats. It's like, yeah, I mean, you get a death threat like, Will, I'm going to kill you. You're going to go, oh, okay, no, you're not. Mm-hmm. But if I tell you that 20,000 times within this span of a couple hours, you start to kind of believe it. And you kind of go nuts, you know, and like, so we had all that. And, you know, we were just trying to, you know, the song is about anti-racism and fuck Nazis, which I didn't know was a radical thing to say. And we had people against us that were like, fuck this band forever. And then we had people that are normally for the things we talk about that were like, I don't know why they wrote this. Like, people just did it. The alt-right wasn't like mainstream. Then a month later, you know, Charlottesville happened, and which with horrific events, and it kind of just stopped on a dime there. And then the whole song took a new meaning. And, you know, so it's wild. I mean, I guess the song was ahead of its time a little bit, maybe literally a month ahead of its time. And it got out of whack. But like, you know, and even when we did Badge and the Bullet Part 2, like we did Badge and the Bullet Part 1 and we're in our early 20s. We're just kids. And like, it's more of a like, you're not above the law. How could you get away with this? And then we did Badge and the Bullet Part 2, where even in the video, we named like Tamir Rice and John Crawford and Eric Garner and Michael Brown and like all these people that have been murdered by police. And the song took a lot more of a serious, more of an extreme thing. And we wanted to bring light to it. And we got shit for it. You know what I mean? Like, we got shit for it back then. And it's like, people didn't understand. But what I guess I'm trying to say is that I just think people realize now, which is why the streaming is up as much. And people are going back to that song at times like now. And, you know, I just think sometimes it takes a minute to come around to it. Don't get me wrong. Some people are completely brain dead for sure. And they're just never going to. Like, they're completely right. And they just right. And they just won't ever try to come, you know, with an open mind to it. But then people are starting to catch on now after some unfortunate things and people losing their lives. I mean, some people lost their life last night. I mean, you know, like Rayshard Brooks was just killed, you know, less than 40 hours ago. You know what I mean? So it's still happening and people are fucking angry. And it's like, so I think, it just takes certain things in life, and it just happened to us earlier as opposed to people where it's happening now. You know, people look at songs, like when I'm 13 and I get into Rage Against the Machine, which I don't hide is my favorite band. When I'm 13, I hear weapons, not food, not homes, not shoes, not need, just feed the war cannibal, animal I don't go like, whoa, that's sick. Like, he's talking about this. When I'm 13, I just go, man, this guy sounds awesome. This song rules. And then I get older, and then it starts to hit you differently when your brain starts to develop. So like, people shouldn't be guilty of being too young or not exposed to this stuff. But as long as they're open and they're learning from this shit, like, I'm confident that our songs or other band songs and Rage songs, like, they will start to hit people differently as they start to become aware of this shit. I'm sorry. I'm from New York. I don't shut up. I'm so sorry.
No, it was great. I mean, I always thought the way that played out was insane because I'm like disagreeing with this message on some strange, like, twisted narrative of why at its core just like felt super toxic to me. And, you know, I'm glad that you've weathered those storms and it didn't change your band or who you are as people. And you just have still, you know, stuck to the message and the purpose of Straight from the Path. So it was, it's nice to see that people recognize that this is shit you've been saying for a while. And I'm glad that you were able to take. I'm sure you learned a lot from it. I'm sure you took some criticisms to heart. I'm sure when we approach a song today, I think we're gonna have the same message. We're gonna do it better,
For sure. And people sang about police brutality before us, and they're going to sing about it afterwards. I hope so. And we use Nazi punks fuck off in the song, but that's from the past.
Yeah, it's we brought it in Kennedy song that's 30 years before you, 20, and it's like what?
And I think it'll have to be
controversial now.
Yeah, and like you were there with us because we write all the lyrics together. The four of us and you, we write all the music together. Like, so you're basically in our band when we're in the studio. So you're there with us. So like where our heads and hearts are supposed to be because it's also yours. So it's just like, but it definitely hit me like, what did I do? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? This is a controversial thing. Like, I just couldn't believe it.
Well, we've talked about this a few times today with different artists who receive criticism, and I think the idea is to just stop giving a fuck about what people think. If you do the work and you're correctly socially aware and are aware of the issues that go on in the world and have spoken to the right communities and are educated enough and have the well-rounded formed opinion on an issue that you want to speak out on, now you just fucking do it and you don't hesitate, and there's no more time to care about what the reaction is going to be. And I'm proud of all the bands that are speaking out and are taking hard stances and telling their fans like, that unfollow button is right here, and it's like, I think the more that happens, the more kids are going to realize that like, hey, if I like this band, I have to like the message that this band has too.
Absolutely. And again, not that this issue is anything had to do with hardcore and metalcore. I'm just trying to speak from my experiences. But when you write these songs and you do get criticized for it, and then like people that say they're going to kill you, and you're literally promoting where you're going to be, the address, what time you're going to be there. It's kind of rough, but it's like what's nice to see, if there is anything nice to take away from this stuff. One of the things is that it wasn't meant for nothing, and like sometimes you ask yourself that when I think like, people are threatening me or my friends, and like, not that like I ever get like scared, like we never canceled the show ever. We've, nothing has ever happened for it, but I'd like to know that we did put something on the line to some extent, and we didn't do it for nothing, because people have taken that like kind of what we offer in like our lyrics and what we are trying to bring the best out of people, and they're bringing it to now the streets, which is where this is important. The people that are doing the real work of protesting and rebuilding communities, like, and educating people and talking to people, like that is what I always wanted, always, with our band. And to see that it all paid off to some extent, it does, a small part of it feels good. And honestly, I haven't felt good in weeks about anything really. And it's like, that's one of the few things I have been, is to see again all these people fundraising, all these people that have like took the shit that we wrote about, drinking 60 polars in your fucking room, and they took it and they went, fuck this, I'm out there. You know what I mean? With Incendiary or Stig or Architects or Stray or Anti-Flag or Enter Shikari, whatever the fuck you want to say. Like any of these bands, it's just, that's like the one cool thing directly from hardcore metalcore. It's just like, I'm proud to see what they're doing,
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't shut up.
Oh, it's okay, man. It's been a long day of talking, so I'm happy to hear from you. Well, I do have to keep it moving. We could do this all day, but I want to announce a couple giveaways from you. The kind folks at Straight From The Path are donating a size 8 Straight From The Path skateboard deck from Real Talk Skateboards, which is very cool.
That's like 8 years old. 7 years old.
I know. That's a rare one. I don't think you're not finding this in a store anywhere. So yeah, that one's cool. No. And can also win a Straight From The Path Internal Atomics test press, which is probably pretty limited.
It is, and straight from my collection. So whoever wants it, please enjoy.
And I think Unified dropped a signed postcard and the weird, goofy
Craig's crazy bullshit,
which is a rare vinyl. So I'll give him credit.
It is, and honestly, I think that sold out in like 4 hours, and there's not a lot left, and goes on Discogs for a good amount. So,
all right, well, there it is. So I appreciate your time and the donations. Always a pleasure, man. And yeah, we'll catch up soon.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, everybody. defund the police. Black Lives Matter. Peace.
Tom Williams, straight from the path. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
All right. Tom Williams. Always a pleasure. Soundring.live, $10. Enters you into a charity raffle with over 100 giveaways from your favorite bands. You can win a variety of prizes, including all of this cool Stray shit that I just posted. And donate now. Please, I'm tired of saying it. I will be back in 2 minutes with Josh Smith from Northlane. We're going to talk about Australia. I want to see what's going on in Australia, so sit tight.